Back here, WHIP, Philly's #1 college radio station. Now joining me is the senior kicker and punter for your Temple Owls, and that's number 19, Brandon McManus. Brandon, Zach Gelb here. How are you?
Good, Zach. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, thank you for coming on. And each and every week I kid about this on my show, but I receive a plethora of emails from Kathy and PR for the Temple Owls. Each and every week, you win every single award. Big East Special Teams Player of the Week. Congratulations once again.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Well, take me through the kick. Big kick going up against UConn, tied up all at 14. What's going through your head before the snap and after the kick went through?
Well, I did have a little faint heart for UConn kicker Chad Christian. I'm good friends with him. I came up through the kicking carousel through him, but I knew that we had the advantage in overtime. Our defense was playing well, and I knew our offense we had the momentum going at halftime. So I've experienced the pressure kicks before, so I was excited for the opportunity for another.
And we all know Steve Adazio is a real emotional head coach. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. What did Adazio say to you after the game?
You know, he was so fired up. You know, he came to the locker room, and we were, as a team, were celebrating. And he came in, and he just was hopping around in the circle in the middle with us. So he was just so excited to get a chance to go back to his home state and get a win. And you're right, he does wear his emotions on his sleeve, and we really enjoy that.
And I know the night before the game, Kevin Nagandi of ESPN, a Temple alumni, he had some words for you. Can you share what he said to you before the game?
Yeah, he came in. Coach Dazio gave him a chance to speak. He usually doesn't allow speakers to come in, but he really thinks Kevin is Nagandi is a Temple guy. He's a guy at heart who battled his way to get to where he is today. But he came in and says, you don't want to look back at this opportunity and say, what if you didn't lay everything on the line. He said that there's going to be homecoming. Teams always want to schedule Temple for homecoming games. So he said that all the alumni is coming back. Everyone's excited for the game. So they'll be partying before the game. And he said we're going to have a North Philly party on the field so that the alumni has a different kind of party afterwards. So it was a neat experience for him to come in and talk to us.
I'm just curious, what makes you so good at being both the kicker and a punter?
It's a tough question. The way I look at it, they're very two different arts. Luckily, I'm able to practice on the sideline to warm up, because if I wasn't able to do that, it would be a very difficult job being able to do both. But I think every kick I do is a completely different kick. I never look back at the kick before. You know, if I hit a good punt, I'm not thinking about that good punt, or else, I could shank one. So I have to really take every kick like it's my last one, and I really have to change the game with that kick.
I really believe that you're going to be a kicker or a punter one day in the NFL. We say it on our show each and every week, or our broadcasts on WHIP at all the football games. Let's say I'm a pro scout and I ask you, how do you describe Brandon McManus? What do you say?
I'd have to say a true competitor, and a perfectionist. Everything I do, I try to be perfect at. Unfortunately, that's not the case this year, but I think I showed resiliency. The South Florida game, I probably had my worst start ever to a game. I could never imagine that it happened that way, but I fought back. I was able to hit the 50-yarder to give the momentum into halftime. But I have a big leg, but I really been working on my accuracy this year, and I think that has been showing.
Temple Rutgers this Saturday at the Link. Big East matchup. We're talking to Brandon McManus, Zach Gelb here, WHIP Temple Sports Hour. And Brandon, this team, all year long they've been put down. Before the season, they were ranked last in the preseason Big East standings. Even after that Maryland and Penn State game, you guys could have quit. After what happened with Kadeem and Kamal, your defense could have came out flat. But this team keeps on, motoring at it 110% each and every week. How does this team really ignore the noise and ignore the critics?
Well, I think Coach Adazio and all the coaches really pounded in our minds that we're not going to be the most talented team, we're not going to be the most athletic team out there in the field. So the way we're going to have to go and beat these teams is with pure will. We're going to go out there and look across the line from us and say we're going to win our one-on-one battles, and that's what we need to do as a team. This team has such determination, and the will in them is unbelievable, as you've seen the past two games. The way we fought back.
You played in the MAC last year, now you're in the Big East. What's been the toughest transition for you and your team going into the Big East this year?
I don't think there's that much transition in the MAC. They do surprise teams every year. It's a great conference. There's a lot of good teams out of it. Even Ohio is 7-0 still, so they're undefeated, having a great year. But it's a little different time. The MAC has a lot of spread offenses, whereas the Big East is a lot of play great defense, and they're going to run the ball on you. Rutgers, they have a pretty good quarterback with Gary Nova, who's having a good year, and also the running back is pretty good. So we're looking for this challenge that's ahead of us.
What's been the feel in practice this week? Big time win. How do you guys settle down those emotions? What's the feel in practice this week for this Temple team?
Well, we celebrated for one day, and after Sunday, we had a victory meal, and we were all focused on Rutgers. We have a lot of guys from Jersey here who were overlooked, a lot of guys from PA who were overlooked by Rutgers. So this is just as much as excitement that we had going into Penn State. It's a rivalry game with Penn State, and I think this is going to be a huge rivalry in the future here with Rutgers, just on the proximity of the campuses. But we're really excited for this opportunity to play this team.
We're talking to Brandon McManus, kicker and punter for the Temple Owls. Temple Rutgers this Saturday at the Link. Make sure you get out there. And Rutgers is coming off a nice win up against Syracuse. They had a blocked field goal in that game. What do you see this special teams unit when you're lining up for a field goal or a punt as a kicker?
Well, actually, they lead the nation in kickoff returns at about 38 yards a return. That's huge. You got to respect the returners. Fortunately, we have a pretty good kickoff team myself. I think we ranked before last week, we were ranked number 1 in the country as well in kickoff. So it's going to be a great testament to our special teams. They're very athletic. They like to get after punts. They'll rush a couple punts and try to block one. So we're excited for this challenge. We're going to try and win the special teams battle because that's going to control the field, and that's inevitably what's really going to help us in the Big East because of how good their defenses are. So that's going to be a great testament to our team. And
you've had a lot of punts, especially early in games. Are you at all concerned about the slow starts your offense has been and the lack of consistency by Chris Coyer and Montel Harris?
No, I don't think that's at all. Anytime Max has been great, but they're more of offensive compared to defensive teams. But here in the Big East, the defenses, and I know every week, it's going to be offensive, defensive struggle going up against these defenses, the way we like to run the ball. So, I've been punting a lot. Yeah, I think I already have 30 punts compared to I had 46 all last year. So it just gives me a chance to help out the team even more. And our offense is we'll find their touch. And I know Montel and Chris are going to be great this week.
And Matt Brown, he was injured in that last game. He re-injured himself. Have you been able to talk to your running back this week?
Yeah, I actually have a great relationship with Matt. Me and him, as you know, he's a great all-purpose player. So he really enjoys being on special teams as much as he is at running back. So we are always grill at each other to try to be the best player that we can be and to help lead our special teams groups in to lead the nation in their respective groups. But he's bound to get back on the field. He's one of the toughest players I've ever played with, and he just shows great resiliency to try to get back out on the field.
Final one here, Brandon. Give me your message to the fans this week. What do you want to say to the fans before this big game coming up 12 o'clock at the Link?
Well, if you don't want to come out and it's Pennsylvania versus Jersey, it's Philadelphia versus Jersey. This is the rivalry that everyone imagines of. So we want everyone out there at the game. I don't know what else you could be doing on a beautiful Saturday other than watching college football. So hopefully we get a huge crowd out there to help support the Temple Owls.
Brandon, thanks so much for the time. I appreciate it. Don't be a stranger to this show. Let's get you on again real soon, my man.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.